We want to go a little deeper into this economic development, so I should tell you. For example, specifically, what is the role of the governor and the role of the Congress Department in economic development? Mr. Walker.
Well, kind of alluding to what I just mentioned in terms of being the chief advocate, but I would say, that all too often people say, well, who's going to be your Secretary of Commerce? What is that person, he or she, going to do? And I think that role is incredibly important, but I think it starts with a strong governor. It starts with a strong advocate for the state, for employers big and small and everyone in between. And it also starts with a different philosophy. Right now in politics, not just at the state level, but even many times at the local level, a lot of politicians, a lot of elected officials spend all their time trying to get that one big business. The 500,000 person plant, suddenly that's going to solve all of our woes. Certainly I'll take that, and I'll fight for that. We've got an opportunity, I'll do that as a governor. But years ago when I worked at IBM and I sold warranty agreements, we were taught to spend about 3/4 of your time with your current client base and about 1/4 of your time seeking out new employees or new clients. I think in government all too often it's the other way around. There's always 75% or more of the time trying to get that one big fish, that one big plant, that one big company out there, when the majority of interest in our state is within existing businesses. If we can help small and mid-sized employers that already have roots here, that already have an employer base, that even through tough times, even through high costs with taxes and regulation and other things, have still kept their roots here in the state of Wisconsin, we reduce that burden. I have every confidence that getting government out of the way will in turn help the employers that are here. More often than not, employers that tell me, beg me to get government out of the way, that they'd like to hire more people in the state that they love. Probably applies to many people in this room right here today. But we need a governor who's going to champion that cause, make it a part of the first budget through everything we do. From my standpoint, there's a clear priority that comes across my desk as governor, and that's two simple questions. What will this do to help existing businesses in this state maintain or grow jobs here in Wisconsin? Or what will this do to help some other business from outside of Wisconsin come and add jobs in the state of Wisconsin? If it doesn't pass those two questions, it's not going to be a priority in our administration, because that's what it takes to get the job done. And ultimately, not only for economic development purposes, but because in the end, jobs, and kind of our philosophy, my philosophy is kind of like a wheel. In the center of the wheel are jobs. And everything else, education, infrastructure, agriculture, manufacturing, all the other issues are spokes that are important. If you get jobs right, everything else is easier to deal with. If you don't get jobs right, everything else becomes incredibly difficult to deal with, and that's what we've seen over the past 8 years.
The question of what is the role specifically of the governor in attracting business and restoring our economy in Wisconsin, I want to start with what I was referring to before, because I think it's very important. By the time I take office on the first day, we would like to convene the first meeting of our economic development team. I'm going to come to business owners across the state of Wisconsin, private sector successful business owners, small business, medium business, and large, and I'm going to ask those business owners specifically to do the same thing that Sue and I are doing. I'm going to ask them to put aside their business for a short period of time to serve their state, to serve their country, as we work together to restore our economy in the state of Wisconsin. The private sector experience that we would bring into the office of governor, negotiating transactions anywhere from tens of thousands to multi-million-dollar contracts with folks, that experience is what's going to be necessary leading that economic development team as we negotiate with businesses across the state. The role of the governor, when I was talking before about having that strategy and finding out what's different in Wisconsin versus these other states where they're attracting jobs and getting us to fulfill that vision of being the best place in the world to do business, that strategy has to be implemented. The governor needs to lead the effort to implement that strategy. And what exactly does that mean? We're going to find out our taxes are too high, that's a given. The governor needs to lead the way on controlling spending so we can cut taxes. We're going to find out that education is very important. The governor needs to lead the way on making sure that we have the best educated kids in the world. And we're going to find out a whole bunch of rules, regulations, red tape, the time it takes to get a permit. Sorry if I get excited when I start talking about this, folks, but I've got 6 businesses. I live on the front lines dealing with what government and the impediments that they put in my way in terms of building our businesses bigger and providing more jobs. We need to have a governor that leads the way in getting these impediments out of the way so our businesses can in fact grow and expand and succeed. So specifically the role of the governor. Establish an economic development team with private sector experience representing small, medium, and large-sized businesses. The role of the governor. Get our taxes down so we're competitive. The the role of the governor. Get the rules, the regulations, and the red tape that are preventing our businesses from growing and expanding and succeeding here in the state of Wisconsin. Get those government impediments out of the way and instead become a partner that encourages relationships. You all have UW Parkside and Carthage here. We want to see some of those public dollars that get into places like UW Parkside coordinated and assisting with the business leaders of the community to bring jobs to your community. Folks, the governor has a very, very important role in this, and you all have a very important decision to make. The resumes that are before you, and Tom Barrett and Scott Walker and Mark Neumann, are very different resumes. You need to examine those resumes as voters and make a decision as to which one of us you feel, and by the way, I don't think any one of the three of those people are bad people. It's a matter of which resume do you think is going to best prepare to turn this state around, because our state's in trouble right now, and we need to turn it around sooner rather than later.